Okay, so here we are in the key of B flat. And I saved this for last because, like I said earlier, we're getting off of the fret markers. We're getting off the dots. And then this one also causes some of its own problems because we get higher into the neck with some of the inversions. So I've explained this in the key of A, the key of G, so I won't kind of beat it to death here. But in this B flat, I know it's part of this B flat chord. Chopping it down, it's a B flat with an A flat. And if you know if you know G, up is G sharp or A flat. If you know A, down is G sharp or A flat. So you start making connections to knowledge that you already have. Okay. Now, because we're off the dots, it's going to be really important that you know where you are and what you're looking for. And I also kind of did this on purpose, where you learn A, you learn G, and then we're kind of right in between the next dot. So here's a dot, here's a dot. The next key would be B, right? So I wanted you to have to contend with really honing in on the note of the chord, working on some fingerings. Like the other key we did when we get down here in A, that's a pretty big stretch, that A7 with a C sharp. So you do have to be mindful of your hand position. I talk about this a lot in other videos too, where we are on the back of the guitar neck. See all the space I have right here between the guitar neck and the palm of my hand and the angle of my thumb? See that? Kind of at a 45. I don't have my palm way up there. That's really going to kill the front of the guitar neck. So when I play this A7, see how my elbow comes in? I'm not winging it out there, because look what it does to my pinky and the tips of my fingers. It really causes problems. So if you're doing this, look at my thumb. Look what it does to my thumb. That's a good position. So now in this key, we just move it up a half step. That's my B flat slash D. And then when I come here, I'm looking for the fifth of the chord. Right, so a lot of the same stuff. My B flat. Okay, now when we get on the next page, we're starting to get into some the frets are smaller. So you just have to contend with it. This F7, my F, again, is on the third string. The other video, C, C7, D, D7. Here's my F. Okay, now when I make this move, now we're at the 13th fret. This fret's small, right? It's harder to play up here. So that's a move you'd want to practice. What am I targeting? This F? This F with the E flat. So just practice these moves. F7, F7, F7. Same F. I'm looking for that same F. Right. So practice even if you just do like a measure at a time. Now off of this F7, getting into bar 10. It's a pretty tight, I think it's a pretty great little sound. It's a really cool, the way those inner voices work together. Here comes the resolve. You notice how stable that sounds? Because there's not a seventh on it. It's the only time in this whole piece that happens. So you get all this tension. Here's the big fat resolve. And then we make it unstable put that flat at 7 in the bass. This is my F note. Now I'm going to use that F note as a root for my 5 chord. Right, so the turnaround. Being in this key is going to be harder than the other two because we're off the dots. So take the time to learn what notes you're going to target, what the name of that note is, and where to find it on the neck. If you're new to trying to figure out the fretboard, and you're trying to put these pieces together, I did a course using just power chords, and it focuses on the 6th and the 5th string. And if you want to learn the neck and not get into, so many chords, you can just use a power chord and move it around. And I came up with, I think there were 40 exercises in that course. So you start on the 6th string, you go to the 5th string, and then we move between the two. So by the end of that course, when I'm doing this with my students in the studio, they know the fretboard on the bottom 2 strings, because if you just try to memorize it, you won't. It doesn't work. I tried that. It's not a good way to go. You need to be implementing this stuff and having to figure out, depending on the exercise, where to go and what that is called. And it's through just a process of repetition and paying attention to what you're doing and looking for those notes and being able to name them. The repetition is really important. So don't get frustrated with this. Just take it slowly. It just takes a lot of reps, and things usually don't come as fast as we want. It doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It just is what it is. This is a 12-bar blues that I just kind of blew up and expanded and inverted a bunch of chords, but it's just basically a 12-bar blues. And the way all these inner voicings work with these chords is what causes that kind of cool motion, the tension and resolve. But you could take your time and just do a couple measures at a time. If you're stringing together a couple of these chords and that's it, that's a win. That's success, because you get to take this information with you. This is knowledge that you carry on to the next thing, so that the work you do here, it really pays off. All right, so if you want to find these PDFs and all the backing tracks, you can just go to the website, greenhillsguitarstudio.com. Sign up for our newsletter. We send out a newsletter every week with a bunch of tips, lesson ideas, kind of special offers, things that don't always hit the website but wind up in our newsletter. So that's a really good resource. So sign up for our newsletter, and I can get you these PDFs and the backing tracks as well. And then also check out our new content library that we just launched. All of this stuff will be located on in the library as well.